So how you doing? How you feeling? How do you feel now vis-a-vis when you started practice? Is it coming together?
Like we still got a long way to go.
Okay.
And I'm glad we got 3 more weeks till we play because we're not even close to being ready. And so we're going to continue to work and keep pushing and trying to improve and get our guys prepared for the first ball game. And anytime in the first season, just going through spring ball isn't enough, and preseason practice isn't enough. There needs to be improvement every day throughout the season, and I hope we'll continue to do that. I hope we'll improve as the year goes along. We're going to have to. Other teams are going to get better, and certainly some of the teams that we're playing are in their second, third, fourth, or multiple years with the same staff. And so certainly just from a preparation standpoint, they're far ahead in having everything in, and for their veterans, a lot more of it's review. For our guys, a lot of it is new stuff each day.
And recognizing the distance you have to cover, do you feel that your team is absorbing, as you go along, what you're trying to cover?
We're improving. We're getting better. We're certainly better right now than we were when we started training camp almost 2 weeks ago. We're a lot better than we were when we started in the spring last year. There's still a long way to go, though. There's things that we didn't have a chance to install in the spring because we were in such an elementary stage in terms of just teaching fundamentals, technique, the expectations for practice, the plays, learning the terminology. So all those things are still coming. We're not completely there yet, but we're better at the things that we did in the spring. Haven't had 15 days there, and we're going on practice number. I believe it's number. Let's see, it's 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. This will be 13 tomorrow, and then scrimmage will be number 14. So we'll be halfway through camp at that point, and we should be with the veterans, getting to where we need to in terms of a point to really focus in on Buffalo and get prepared for them. And not that we haven't talked about Buffalo, our first game, or placed an emphasis on it. It's the most important game of the year right now. But really more of a concentration on us improving as a football team and getting our base season.
Coach, senior class, the first 3 years or so, they haven't had a really great go of it. Looking for a defining moment for them, maybe defining season. What have you seen from them as far as, their preparation, leadership, and the way they practice?
I think our guys are excited about this season. Just to have an opportunity to change the perception of this program and accomplish some things that none of them have been able to accomplish in their career here. Raymond Maples is the only guy in our program that's got a bowl ring. He was here as a freshman in 2010. None of the rest of our guys have that, and none of the rest of our guys have won a Commander-in-Chief's trophy, beating our biggest rival, Navy. And those are all certainly things that I think they'd like to accomplish, and certainly will be goals of our team as we set those.
When the goals haven't been set for the season yet, or have they?
I let the team choose the goals, and I don't feel like it's appropriate to set goals before we get started. We had several freshmen join us for preseason training camp, and they get an opportunity to go through camp, get to know our veterans, get to know our staff, begin to learn what our philosophy is all about, what we expect from an Army football team. And at that point, then everybody has the opportunity to give input as to what the goals will be, including the freshmen. Those are team goals. Those aren't senior goals or the coaches' goals. That's everybody involved in the program. So we'll have an opportunity to do that. Our seniors are clearly, as a group, really practicing with, I think, a sense of purpose and urgency, which they need to. This is the last go-around. hope that'll continue, and we'll need their leadership as well as leadership from guys in every class to help us get where we want to go.
Before Buffalo, the goals are the team we'll get together and select the goals? Or?
Yeah, we'll do that before we play the first game.
Okay, thanks.
Coach, just going to ask you about how your coaching staff has come together, and also about your two coordinators, Brett Davis and Jay Bateman. A little bit about their philosophies.
I'm really excited about our staff. I think we got a great bunch of men. They care about our guys. They coach hard. They are very servant-minded people, and they put the team first, and that's important. It's important to have people like that in an organization where you expect great things and where there are young people who are counting on leadership from the top to develop them and to give them the best opportunity for success. I'm really happy with our staff. They're a veteran staff. I don't know how many years of coaching, but to be able to share with the kids, we've got over 100 postseason appearances combined with the staff. Close to 80 championships of one kind or another, conference championship, national championship, Commander-in-Chief's championship, whatever it may be. So a lot of experience and success. And I really am excited about our coordinators. I've worked with Brent the last 4 years. He was our coordinator at Georgia Southern. He did a tremendous job. But to have that whole staff, Mitch Ware. Mitch Ware was the offensive coordinator under Mike Seawalk, and Brent was an assistant. On our staff, Brent was our offensive coordinator, and Mitch is the assistant head coach and one of the assistants on offense. Those guys have worked together a long time. And they have Lamont Seward, Sean Saturnio, who were with us at Georgia Southern. They have Bob Bodine, who worked with Brent at VMI and also worked with Brent and I at Georgia Southern. We've got a staff that's been together and has a lot of experience together. So I think that offensive staff is really strong, and I'm glad that those guys are here. Defensively, I've always had so much respect for Jay and the defenses that he's coached. I coached against him when he was the defensive coordinator at Elon. I tried to hire him at Georgia Southern, and we didn't get it worked out the first time. And I was thrilled we were able to get him hired this time. He's great energy. He's smart. He's got head coaching experience. He was a head coach in college for 5 years, and so he brings that leadership to that side of the ball, and our staff really works well together. Having Kevin Corliss, the guy that was the defensive coordinator at Georgia Southern, here with us. A guy like that I know so well. He's one of the best teachers I've ever been around. Orlando Mitchens, who was on our staff at Georgia Southern, had him on the staff. Really excited about this group of men.
How would you see the offense, the option offense, being different from what we've seen before? You've got a tight end in the mix now. And you've got a lot of veteran players. How do you see it being different from what it might have been in the past?
Well, I think there's a lot of things you'll see that are the same. When we run the inside veer, we run the outside veer, we run the midline, we run the toss play. All those things are going to look very similar to what Army's done in the past. But there's things that we do more of. We might run one of those plays, those particular plays, more than Army had run it in the past, just because of our philosophy or the kinds of guys we got on our football team right now that we think are the strengths of our team. We'll also line up in the shotgun, which we've done the last 3 years at Georgia Southern, and that'll be a part of our offense. How much, I don't know. Maybe more than we're under center, maybe a lot less. It'll just depend on who we've got carrying the ball and what they're capable of doing, and how our offensive linemen pick up the two different schemes, because they are different. They're similar in that they're all option-based plays, and the quarterback is going to read and decide if somebody else is going to carry it besides him or pitch the ball as an option play works. But just the ability of our offensive linemen to execute the blocks in those two different schemes, that'll have a lot to do with how much we run one or the other. So I think it's great to be able to do both. And for years we didn't do anything but under center option, and there were times where defenses would really do a great job of scheming us and stopping us, whether it was what they were doing from a schematic standpoint or the fact that they just had guys that were whipping us physically on a to be able to run some shotgun stuff, I think is good. Changes the actions and angles, and it still allows us to stay within that philosophy of running the option.
Coach, you mentioned your time at Georgia Southern. You had that huge win over the Gators back in November. What's it like making a transition from a program like Georgia Southern to Army that had a pretty nice season last season?
I don't know. I think only the names change. The job I'm doing here is the same job I was doing there. These young men are just like the young men I coached there and the ones I've coached at every college. They want to win. They want to be put in position to have success on Saturday afternoons. That's my job and the job of this staff, to lead and motivate and inspire those guys to play their very best to do that. And I'm confident that we can. So we're coaching these guys just like we did the guys in Statesboro. And when we went to Statesboro, Georgia Southern, and I had been there as an assistant for 5 years with Paul Johnson, and had a great experience. But the year before we got there with Coach Johnson, they had gone 4-7. It was the first losing season in school history. And in the 4 years prior to our staff going to Georgia Southern this second time when I was there as the head coach, in those 4 years there were 2 more losing seasons, as well as a 6-5 season. Two losing seasons, only 3 in entire school history, and a 6-5 season, which doesn't happen often at that school. And so we had a culture that we felt like needed to change back to what it was, similar to this program here. We've got a tradition and a history here at Army that's as good as anybody in the country. Very few stadiums have 3 Heisman Trophy winners up on the wall of their stadium and 3 national championships, and I don't care what year they happened. There's a great history and tradition here, and we need to bring the winning culture back, and that's my job and the job of this staff, and we need to be able to get the most out of these guys to do that, and that's what we're going to try to do. So it doesn't, to me, it's the same job, and if we approach it any differently, then I'm not coaching my personality and my philosophy. I think there was a mutual feeling that this was a good fit for me. I certainly felt that way, and I believe that the folks here at Army felt like I was a good fit for Army, and that's why we came to the agreement to do this. So I'm excited about it.
Coach, what's tougher? A veteran player veteran players in this case, getting accustomed to a new coach, or a new coach coming in with a bunch of veteran players who played under another coach's system?
It's a learning process for everybody, but it's a lot tougher for the players than it is for me. I don't have to change. They got to change. And if we were 9-3 and have been going to bowl games the last 10 years, then there's probably a lot of things I'd look at and say, hey, how we've been doing it around here, and I may need to adapt to do a few things that are in line with the way they've been doing, because they've had a lot of success. If I come in here and throw a bunch of monkey wrenches in it, I wouldn't be very smart. But clearly, I think there's things that we need to do to move our program forward, and so I'm the one that's going to set the standard and meet the expectations that we have, and these guys that sit in this room with us as members of our team, they have to adapt. It's not easy to do, but they can do it. Other teams have done it. Other players have done it. We're not asking them to do anything that we didn't ask the guys at Georgia Southern to do, or any place else I've been where we've gone in and try to change things around.
One thing you mentioned is these players are similar to others that you coach, and that they're pretty much the same kind of players you're coaching. They listen, they understand, but these guys are trained to salute a traffic light. So I would think there's more of a concentration on their part, more like, yeah, damn right we're going to do what this coach tells us. Yes or no?
Human beings are human beings, and they'll do what's demanded of them. You got to demand of people to get the most out of them. There is some intrinsic motivation with these guys because of the kinds of people they are. they're certainly more self-motivated individuals than your average college student. But that doesn't mean that they don't get tired, they don't lose focus and concentration sometimes, they don't get frustrated. They're like every other human being, and we all want to know what the expectations are. We all want to know what the standard is that we've got to meet, and most people will try to rise to that standard. These guys are no exception. I mean, they're I don't know. I find that there's different way to motivate different kids. We got 150 guys on our football team, and not every one of them's wired the same way. Some you don't have to say much to. They're gonna do it and try to do it the best they can all the time, and others you got to teach and reteach, or you got to get their attention, or you've got to push them and motivate them. And if they didn't need that, then I wouldn't be here. They wouldn't need us. Everybody needs. We all have a boss. We all have somebody we answer to, and those that is often where we get our standard for the kind of effort we're going to put in, the results that we see as success, whatever it is, whatever industry, whether it's football or the media, the law, medicine, politics, the military. And so I think that's the case with our guys. These kids that sit in this room, you know, they're not, they don't, I think there's a misconception that they're perfect, that they never make mistakes, that you can tell them something one time and they never forget it, and they're hanging on every word, and they're just going to absolutely do it perfect all the time. You know, that doesn't happen. That's not, and they're young people. We got kids in here that are 17 years old, haven't turned 18 years old yet. They're still children. They're still in their formative years. They're still impressionable. They're still going to learn from us a lot of things about life and about how to lead and how to be servant-minded men. And we've got 23-year-olds in here that are the same. That we're going to try to motivate, push, and change, and mold, and you know, they're going to make mistakes along the way, just like every young person does. But these guys here, as a whole, as a group, a unit, are a lot different than most football teams in that there really is a conscious effort on their part to try to do right, to really focus in, to look at the rest of the guys in the group and try to provide leadership, because they're taught that all throughout the day. Those are things that are reinforced in the court, classroom, military training, which is different from a traditional college. It's not that they don't. I coach guys at Georgia Southern, some of the best leaders I've ever been around, some of the most motivated kids I've ever been around, some of the finest young men that you'd ever want to meet. Same at Georgia Tech, same at the other academy, same at every college I've been at. There's just some great kids I've been around. And the advantage here is that these kids are hand-selected for those qualities that they have as high school students. So we're bringing in a guy that oftentimes is more developed as a leader, does have some of those qualities already. But that doesn't mean that these guys are. I love these guys any more than I did other guys I coached. I love all the kids I coached, and these kids are the same. They want to be coached. They want to be treated like a big-time football player. They want to have expectations set. Say, I have expectations for you as a football player to accomplish this on Saturday afternoon. And they're the same there, and they need to be pushed and motivated, and sometimes disciplined, and all of those things that you do with other college football players. Sorry for the long-winded answer.
Coach.
How much has it helped you that you, as you put it, coached at the other academy, as you got started here, trying to put things together here?
I being in this job for the first time, I don't know how anybody could take this job without some academy experience and having an understanding of what happens on the inside of the gate and what the expectations are for the student athletes outside of football. They are, in terms of the time commitment that they have to academics and the military requirements, goes way beyond what we experienced at traditional school. And if I didn't have the experience coaching in an academy, and certainly for someone coming in here who doesn't have any academy experience, there are things that could really frustrate a coach. Why does it have to be that way? I didn't have to do it at, the last 6 universities does that. Why do we have to do it that way here? Why do these guys have to be involved in that? What's the purpose of that? And I don't see why that's important. But having had the experience in an academy, you learn all those things, and you become a part of that culture and that environment. You realize why all the things that they do throughout their day and all the things they do in the 4 years that they're here are important. And instead of trying to figure out ways to change it, you embrace those things and understand why they're important and use them as an advantage. And it takes a while to learn that. It certainly did when we went to the academy the first time. The advantage was we had a head coach who had academy experience, so he walked in the door and knew what needed to be done. And for the rest of us who didn't have that experience, it took some time for us to learn, but how much we appreciated it after we were gone. And so I think it's really valuable to have that experience.
Coach, a quick glance at the roster shows that there are quite a few players who have more weight and they're carrying more muscle this year than in the past. Could you address?
I hope it's muscle.
Could you address the importance of that and how you figure that'll play this year?
I think all you have to do is look at the rosters of our opponents and figure out why that's important to be heavier and be bigger. You can't add height in a weight room, but you can add weight and muscle mass. As I said, hopefully it's muscle mass. We had just short of 100 guys working out all summer. This is the first summer that we've been able to do that through the efforts of our superintendent, General Caslin, the efforts of Luke Corrigan, our athletics director, general trainer, our dean, our commandant, who's now gone, Rich Clark, taking another assignment. They all work together to create a schedule where our guys could accomplish their military training, which is required for every cadet here, as well as be able to be here and train and prepare for the football season. And every football team in America that plays football at this level keeps their guys there all summer long. They take summer school classes, they lift together, run captains practices where the older guys will go out and run 7-on-7 or do one-on-one drills. We've never been able to do that here. This is the first summer we've ever been able to do that. So for 7 straight weeks leading into camp, our guys lifted and ran and participated in workouts together. And the result was we averaged over 14 pounds per player in weight gain. We gained over 1,400 pounds collectively as a team. Now we had 6 or 7 guys gain over 30 pounds, and we had one lose 6 pounds. So when you average it all out, we had a lot of guys gain a lot of weight. And I think just from the standpoint of being able to match up with our opponents better. Look at a nose guard that plays in an odd front team. Buffalo's going to play an odd front. Stanford's going to play an odd front. At least we think that's their base scheme. If they show up here, they'll surprise us. But the nose for Stanford is 305. Well, if you line a 250-pound center up over, in 95-pound nose guard. Physical superiority cancels all theory. And so you either got to play with unbelievable technique and effort to have a chance. If that guy across from you plays with unbelievable technique and effort, you're going to have a tough time beating him. Well, now we got a 309-pound center. Whether that'll make a difference or not, I don't know. But I think it gives us a better chance. And secondly, just the durability. Being here and being able to lift all summer long and getting their bodies in great physical condition. Camp is hard. You know, we go out the first day of camp, and I've been disappointed just that the weather's been so cool. I was hoping for some a lot warmer weather. You know, it was 70 out there a couple days ago. That doesn't seem much like camp, especially coming from a place where it'd be 106. And but the very first day we had a good warm day, and I thought, man, this is exactly what we need to get in great condition. Because if we kick it off out here on September 6th, and it's 100 degrees on the turf, our guys are going to need to be prepared. So just the physical conditioning to get prepared for camp and for a long season, which we have, I think all that was certainly beneficial. And then just getting pounded and running into people and having people running into you for 14, 15, 16 straight weeks, you know, all the way into, you know, January 2nd or whenever the Armed Forces Bowl is. That's a long time to go, and if you're not physically prepared and ready for it, injury starts to creep in, and when one guy gets hurt, then it becomes, okay, well, the next guy's got to take more reps in practice, so that sets him up for injury. And I think for all those reasons and more, gaining that weight and having the opportunity to work out is going to help our football team. And it's going to make a difference, I hope, this year. I think it's really going to make a difference as we do it year in and year out, and our guys grow through the program and have a chance to develop. What's happened is they would gain a lot of weight in the spring and really build up, you know, a great conditioning level and strength, and then they'd go into summer training, and some was happening and ending as close as 4 days before camp. Well, they lost 20 pounds, and all that weight they gained, it's hard to gain that back in camp.
Okay.
And just the durability became an issue for our team in the past. So I'm excited about what this summer helps us do over the long run.